Good day, grade 5 pupils. Welcome to the second week of learning and fun. I'm your teacher in School on Air in Science. I'm teacher Marvin Villaquidan from Schools Division of Cauayan City. Before we start our lesson, get your module for Quarter 1, Module 1 with the title Recognizing Useful and Harmful Materials. Then you go to a place where you feel comfortable and free from any noise so that you can easily learn the knowledge that I'm going to share with you. Last time, we already talked about matter, its physical and chemical properties. Matter has different properties that make them different from one another. Some types have properties that make them good materials for producing useful products, but other types have properties that make them harmful. After our discussion, we will focus on these following objectives. Number 1, we will identify the properties of matter that can help us determine whether it is harmful or useful. For number 2, we will enumerate useful and harmful materials we can see at our home and in our school. And for number 3, we will differentiate the useful from harmful materials. Before we begin, let's open our module on page 2 and we will match the image materials listed in column 1 with their usefulness and harmfulness in column 2. So let's answer the page 2 of our module. On number 1, how do we use paint? It is letter E. It is used to protect the wall and roofs. How about number 2, detergent? It is letter B. It cleans dirty clothes. How about number 3, insecticide? It is letter A. It kills insects and pests. And for number 4, oil or vegetable oil. It is letter C. It is used in cooking food. And for number 5, spoiled milk. It is letter D. It causes poisoning and death. Now, look around you. Can you give some materials or objects you see beside you or in front of you? For me, I have here my books, pen, my papers, and notebooks. And they are usually found in school. But how about cooking oil? Your bed. Where do we usually find those things or materials? You're right. We usually see them at our home. But for now, We have materials we can see in our school. We have also materials we usually found in our home. And those materials usually have good effects for us. For instance, what should we use when we want to write? Yes, we use our ball pen and pencils. How about what liquid we usually use when we want to fry eggs? That is cooking oil. Those materials have specific properties that help us in what we need. So before we dig deeper in our lesson, let's have a simple activity on page 4. All you have to do is identify whether the given pictures are useful or harmful. You have 2 minutes to do the activity. So, time is up. For number 1, broken glass. Useful or harmful? The answer is harmful. And for number 2, empty bottles being refilled. That is useful. Number 3, use boxes as books organizer. That is useful. And number 4, candy wrappers made into wall cover. That is useful. And for number 5, vegetable peelings made into compost. That is useful. From our last activity, we identify materials as whether they are useful or harmful. But how do materials become useful or harmful? Materials are said to be useful when they serve their purpose. For example, what do we need when we want to write? Yes, that is pencil or ball pen. How about what we need when we need to fry eggs? That is cooking oil. And those materials have specific properties that help us. Last time, we already discussed some properties of matter such as durability, flexibility, elasticity, hardness, and resistance. So let's have the number one property, that is durability. It is durable when it is not easily broken or worn out. For example, furniture. Why do you think furniture are made up of wood or metal rather than paper? It is because it is durable to carry us. Then number two, flexibility. It is the ability or property of material that is easily bent without breaking, such as a rubber band, electrical wires, our shoes, and slippers. And number three, we have elasticity. It is the ability of material to return to its original form after being stretched or squeezed. Rubber bands are elastic. Balloons and spring are also example of elastic materials. And for number four, we have hardness. It is the state or condition of being hard. For example, knives, spoon, and forks are made up of metal. And for number five, that is resistance. It is the act or process of resisting. Why do you think pots are made up of metal? It is because it can resist extreme heat. Most of the useful materials can be reused and recycled. For example, plastic bottles of cola. When it is already empty, it can still be used for other purposes such as making flower vase, a coin bank, or house decor. But some useful materials may also bring hazards. For example, when glass is broken, it can pose danger by cutting some part of our body such as our skin, or it can pose danger especially to the children. Toxic substances may also be present in the things that you commonly use, such as paints, cleaners, fumes, gels, or powders. And these materials may bring harm to our health, environment, and organisms when not used properly. That's why you should be careful when handling and using different materials. There are different materials found at home. These are important because they are used in our daily activities such as cooking tool, cleaning our houses, treating ailments, personal hygiene, and many more. With so many materials with useful and harmful effects, identifying labels of those materials are very important. Through product labels, consumers and children become aware of whether the product is harmful or not. Useful materials are those that can be used for other purposes, can be recycled, can be dumped straight into a landfill, and something can be recovered from it. Harmful materials, on the other hand, are toxic to us, can cause injury, cannot be dumped straight into a landfill, can pollute the environment, and take too much time to decompose. Expiration dates and other hazardous signs are some of the most important elements in a product label. Some products are flammable, such as paints, and therefore must be stored away from open flames. Others are corrosive, like muriatic acid, so it is advisable to keep it away from children's reach. Pesticides, fertilizers, and muriatic acid are poisonous if not handled properly. Reading product labels can help you identify whether the product is useful or harmful. The simple symbols and labels give ideas on how to use and store the product properly, and in order to help prevent accidents from happening and therefore save lives. Next week, we will have the importance of labels in identifying useful and harmful materials. This time, we will answer the given activities on page 6 to 7, on activity 3 on page 6, and what I have learned on page 7. We will do these activities for 3 minutes. Okay, for those learners who are listening, I will dictate the directions for activity 3. Directions: identify which materials below is useful or harmful by drawing happy face for useful and sad face for harmful. And number 1, candy wrappers made into bag, happy face or sad face. Number 2, a broken glass thrown in the backyard. Number 3, disinfectant bottles thrown everywhere. For number 4, a box made into a bookshelf. And number 5, leftover food from restaurants turned into fertilizers. For number 6, use syringes and needles placed beside children's toys. Number 7, a broken container turned into decorative plant holder. And number 8, use car tires turned into park benches. And number 9, old colorful magazines made into paper baskets. And number 10, empty bottles of paint thrown into the garbage bin for burning. On page 7, what I have learned, complete the paragraph using the words in the box. Timer starts now. Let's answer activity 3. Number 1. Candy wrappers made into bag. That is happy face. Number 2. A broken glass thrown in the backyard. That is sad face. Number 3. Disinfectant bottles thrown everywhere. That is sad face. Number 4. A box made into a bookshelf. That is happy face. Number 5. Leftover food from restaurants turned into fertilizers. That is happy face. Number 6. Use syringes and needles placed beside children's toys. That is sad face. Number 7. A broken container turned into decorative plant holder. That is happy face. Number 8. Use car tires turned into park benches. That is happy face. Number 9. Old colorful magazines made into paper baskets. That is happy face. Number 10. Empty bottles of paint thrown into the garbage bin for burning. That is sad face. Let's have page 7. What I have learned. Many materials and substances are, number 1, useful at home and in school. But they can be, number 2, harmful if not used properly. Materials are considered useful when they serve the, number 3, purpose. Some useful materials can be, number 4, reuse or recycled. For example, an empty container can be used as house decor, but some materials can be, number 5, harmful, like a broken glass jar that can cause cuts or injury. Before we have our assessment, let's have first a recall of what have we learned today. Let's remember that useful materials are 1. Materials that serve its purpose. Number 2. Can be used for other purposes. Number 3. Can be recycled. And number 4. Can be dumped straight into a landfill. Number 5, something can be recovered from the material. And for the harmful materials, they are 1. Materials that are toxic to us. Number 2, materials that can cause injury. Number 3, materials that cannot be dumped straight into a landfill. Number 4, can pollute the environment. Number 5, takes too much time to decompose. Let's have now our assessment on page 8. This is our directions. Write a check mark if the material being described is useful. Write wrong mark or X if they are harmful. I'll give you 5 minutes to do the activity. For those who are listening, I will dictate the assessment part on page 8. We have directions. Write a check mark if the material are useful, or a wrong mark or X if they are harmful. Number 1. Use empty bottles made into a flower vase. Number 2. Fruit and vegetable peelings converted into fertilizers. Number 3. Storing expired medicine in the cabinet. Number 4. Old newspapers used to pack things in the store. Number 5. Scattered broken glass found inside the classroom. Number 6. Food boxes used as toy cabinets at home. Number 7. candy and juice wrappers made into an eco bag. Number 8, plastic water bottles thrown into the canals. Number 9, busted light bulbs left unattended at home. And number 10, empty disinfectant bottles not properly disposed. Let's check the assessment on page 8. Number 1. Use empty bottles made into a flower vase. That is check. Number 2. Fruit and vegetables peelings converted into fertilizers. That is check. Number 3. Storing expired medicine in the cabinet. That is wrong. Number 4. Old newspapers used to pack things in the store. That is check. Number 5. Scattered broken glass found inside the classroom. That is wrong. Number 6. Food boxes use as toy cabinets at home? That is check. Number 7, candy and juice wrappers made into an eco bag. That is check. Number 8, plastic water bottles thrown in the canals. That is wrong. Number 9, busted light bulbs left unattended at home. That is wrong. And number 10, empty disinfectant bottles not properly disposed. That is wrong. If you got 10 points, that's outstanding. If you got 7 to 9 points, that's excellent. If you got 1 up to 6, I know you can do better next time. Thank you for listening, and next week we will talk about the importance of product label and how it helps us to determine how we can classify materials being useful and harmful. Keep on learning. See you next week.